Are we live? Did I go live yet? Oh yeah, we're live. Whoops. Sorry guys, I'm doing a little something right now. Need to change the names of those. Ten width and height. It's 1080 by 12. What? How do you do this? 1080 by width and height. It's 12. $1920? 1920 by 1080. 1920 is the width. 1080 is the height. I think. Oh, wait. Try that again. Got it. Okay, cool. Then we do game capture, add existing. Then we do camera, audio input, main mic. Then we do audio input. No. Audio output. Audio output, we do desktop. Then we do camera, video capture device. Now, can I change the, if I change the, okay, and we need this under the overlay. Overlay on top. And then we fit the camera into here. So my camera is set to 16 by 9. This frame is for 3 by 4. But if I change the C920 ratio, it's going to change it in every scene, I think. So I can just do it manually. I hold shift. But it makes my head all long. Oh yeah, that looks weird. How can I undo that? There's a hotkey to fix that. I'm just going to delete the source. Redo it. Instead, I'm going to just trim the edges off. I'm going to re-add the video capture device. Here, I guess I'll let you guys see what I'm doing before we get started on the reading. We're a little early. So if I go here, do this, then I go here. Then we add video capture device, existing here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to trim off the edges instead of changing the aspect ratio. Put this behind this. Make it bigger so I can see better. And we're going to do it something like that. Yeah. Then we're going to trim this down. Trim this down. Trim that. And trim that. There we go. Now we have a gameplay scene. Which would look something. I also have the chat bot, but I need to watch a video on how to get the chat in. You have to do something. You have to pop out your chat and then put the URL in. I think you have to do that every time, which is kind of lame. Let me see. I think it's a browser source. You use the browser source. So you pop out your chat, find the source of your chat, add a browser source, put your chat link in there. But then do you have to change that every time you use chat? You want your chat to show on the screen? I have a box. It's hidden right now to go right here with the chat or under my picture. Actually, I would probably have it under my picture. But anyway, this is the gameplay scene. So I think it... Anyway, let me share out this and we'll stop dilly-dallying with all this stuff. That's for later. All right. Let me close this. Now we just got to figure out, how do I find my downloads? How do I find where I downloaded? Oh, let me go nerd or die. You've got 30% off. Claim your discount. Tell us what you're most interested in. Bro, I'm not doing all this. 30% discount off my first order. I already made my first order. You guys can't see that display, right? Let me... Okay. We'll pull this over here. If I hold shift, I can snap things in where they go because I have all my windows set up to go in certain places. Nice. All right. Now, orders completed, view, order was placed on May 20 is currently completed. Construct overlays, construct widgets, construct After Effect files. I think I'm just going to download it again. Or I'm going to download one of them and see if I can find what folder I put it in. Okay, yeah, we have already downloaded this. Last week, construct overlays, source files, widget collection, overlays, overlay source file, collection. What folder is this in? Downloads. Okay, I want to move these. I want to make a folder for this. Where would I put it? Maybe in documents? Where would I put this? On the desktop? Nah. Put it in documents. Show new folder. New folder. Overlays. Delete that. Okay, then we take all of these. Overlays, overlay source files, overlay source files. Rename, share, extract all, add to favorites, compress. Can I move all these? Or maybe I'll just copy them. Send to. Documents. Okay. Then we'll drag them into the folder. Overlays folder. Okay. Now, why view? Why are these? Are these multiple of the same folder? 102 megabytes. Construct widget collection, construct widget collection. 102 megabytes, 102 megabytes. Construct overlays, source files. construct overlay source files. Construct 2.52 gigabytes. Okay, I think this is okay. Overlays, widgets, After Effects files. I don't know if After Effects files. Oh, no, that's the same thing. Stop. Okay, I'm going to delete all these. And it should be fine because I have them in this folder. Okay, here's all three of them. And now, do I unzip all these? Extract all? Files will be extracted to this folder. Users, key, OneDrive documents, overlays, construct overlays. Yes. 494 items. Okay, before I share the stream out, I just want to get all this stuff extracted. Did that extract everything? Extract all. 1,969 items. Okay. Unexpected areas, keeping to receive this error, you can use the area code search for help with this problem. Cyberpunk Novu mod MEMR consider net runners. Path too long. Cyberpunk 2077 Novo mod Ameliour considerable What the hell does that mean? YouTube full color item. An unexpected error is keeping you from copying the file. If you consider you read this, you can use the area code to search for help with this problem. Why am I getting error codes? And we're getting error codes on a bunch of stuff when I'm trying to extract the files. Not enough cloud storage? I don't want no dang cloud storage. Construct source files XXXXX. Oh, this is the source files. You need the you need that reader thing to be able to read these. I don't know what's going on. My sounds aren't downloading. Do you hear that? Wait, there's no why don't we have desktop audio? Why is there no desktop audio here? What the? Hold on a second. Add. Check. Add audio output. Desktop audio. I'm not sure what's going on with my OBS. Why? Audio. Desktop audio. Default? Okay, this is weird. Let's try this. Okay, you hear that? Okay, so it's playable. Why are there little X's next to it? What does this mean? What do these little red X's mean all over my... There's red X's all over the place. I'm seeing a lot of red X's. Error. View cloud storage information. 6.3 gigabytes used. You can't upload new files or send it. I don't want cloud. I don't want cloud storage. Get the... What? Wait, why is it trying to save this to a cloud? This is supposed to be just my PC. Oh my gosh, I think I know what happened. I need to... What am I doing? Pastor Huckleberry, wonderfully. Just delete it all and start over. Morning, King. Looking scruffy and rough. Hard night at work. Yes. All right, we'll figure this out after. I need to get started. So let me share this stream out and then we will get started. Sorry, I'm trying to... I don't know what's up with my... I think I do need to delete it all and start over. Just re-download them into the right folder where I want them. So I don't want them in here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to delete all of this. Deleting an online only folder. I did not know this was an online only section. We're just going to delete all of it and start over. And now we're going to download it. Download. We're going to make a folder in the local disk. New folder overlays. Once it's done downloading, I'll copy it over to there. But for now, Let's share this stream out to a few places. Share it here. Share it here. And we'll share it right here. Okay. All right, we're going to finish 2 Samuel today. Extracted to this folder. Extract. Probably should make a second folder within this folder called construct for all these overlays. All right, I can take the headset off. Okay, now we're not getting any errors. All right. Extract all. Extract. I'm going to make a... It's doing it again. Why am I getting these errors? What the heck is going on? So how many things? I just hit skip. If I get the error, I skip. What was I skipping, though? How many things did I skip? AEP file? After Effects, Premiere Pro. Footage, custom logos, placeholder. Widget collection. Okay, well, we didn't have any problems with the widget collection or the overlays, but the source files, we had some errors. Anyway, let's get going. 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel. David blessed Barzillai. We're on chapter 20. We only have 5 chapters left. So we're going to roll right into it. I'm not in focus, it seems like. Turn off studio. Okay, we're in focus. We're focused enough. Focused enough. All right. 2 Samuel, chapter 20. We're going to finish it up today. the ending of the story of David. What do we got next? Sheba's rebellion. Not Shiva. Not Shiva's rebellion. Sheba's rebellion. Queen Sheba? The same one that messes with Solomon? Not Bathsheba. All right, chapter 20. And there happened to be a wait, where were we? Let's read the last couple verses from yesterday. And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, because the king is near of kin to us. Wherefore then be ye angry for this matter? Have we eaten at all of the king's cost, or hath he given us any gift? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 parts in the king, and we have also more right in David than ye. Why then did ye despise us, that our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. So this is Judah and Israel were arguing about why they didn't bring David back earlier. Chapter 20. And there happened to be there a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet and said, We have no part in David, neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel. So every man of Israel went up from after David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah clave unto their king, from Jordan even to Jerusalem. Oh, this is kind of, seems kind of parallel to, the men of Judah are clinging to David, the tribe of Judah, which leads to the tribe of Jesus. But the Israelites are rejecting David. They're turning away from David. Kind of seems parallel to Jesus. The Jews, Jesus is, I don't know, it's different. Because the Jews would be of Judah, but also Israelites. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. My brain's a little foggy right now. I am tired. I didn't get enough sleep yesterday. But, all right. Clave unto their king from Jordan even unto Jerusalem. And David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in ward, and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. That's because he didn't go in unto them. Was that shiny blue thing on your desk? This? That's a computer. You don't know what a computer is, baby? You ain't never seen a dang computer before. All right. You know why he's not going in unto his concubines? Because dang old Absalom graped them all on the rooftop. Then said the king to Amasa, Assemble me the men of Judah within 3 days, and be thou here present. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah, but he tarried longer than the set time which he had appointed him. And David said to Abishai, Now shall Sheba the son of Bichri do us more harm than did Absalom. Take thou thy Lord's servants and pursue after him, lest he get him fenced cities and escape us. And there went out after him Joab's men, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men, and they went out to Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. When they were at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them. It looks like some voodoo hocus pocus mess. It's just a computer. When they were at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them, and Joab's garment that he had put on was girded unto him, and upon it a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins, in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. And Joab said to Amasa, Art thou in health, my brother? And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him. But Amasa took no heed to the sword that was in Joab's hand. So he smote him there within the fifth rib, and shed out his bowels to the ground, and struck him not again, and he died. So Joab and Abishai his brother pursued after Sheba the son of Bichri. Joab killed Amasa? Why? Amasa? Why'd he kill him? And one of Joab's men stood by him and said, He that favoreth Joab, and he that is for David, let him go after Joab. And Amasa wallowed in blood in the midst of the highway. And when the man saw that all the people stood still, he removed Amasa out of the highway into the field, and cast a cloth upon him, when he saw that everyone that came by him stood still. When he was removed out of the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. And he went through all the tribes of Israel unto Abel, and to Bethmaachah, and all the Berites. And they were gathered together and went also after him. And they came and besieged him in Abel of Bethmaachah. And they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench. And all the people that were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then cried a wise woman, no such thing. Then cried a wise woman out of the city, Hear, hear, say I, pray you unto Joab, come near hither, that I may speak with thee. And when he was come near unto her, the woman said, Art thou Joab? And he answered, I am he. Then she said unto him, Hear the words of thine handmaid. And he answered, I do hear. Then she spake, saying, They were wont to speak in old times, saying, They shall surely ask counsel at Abel. And so they ended the matter. I am one of them that are peaceable and faithful in Israel. Thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why wilt thou swallow up the inheritance of the Lord? And Joab answered and said, Far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. The matter is not so, but a man of Mount Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri, by name, hath lifted up his hand against the king, even against David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said unto Joab, Behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. Then the woman went unto all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and cast it out to Joab. And he blew a trumpet, and they retired from the city, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem unto the king. Now Joab was over all the host of Israel, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Cherethites and over the Pelethites. And Adoram was over the tribute, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud was recorder. And Shiva, and not Shiva, but Sheva, was scribe, and Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Ira, also the Jerite, was a chief ruler about David. Sheba's rebellion. Why did homeboy kill Amasa? Let's Google. Let's do some Googling. Why did Joab kill Amasa? Joab killed Amasa because he feared that Amasa was conspiring with Sheba, who led a rebellion against King David. Joab, a powerful military leader, was jealous of Amasa's position as commander of the army, which he had been appointed to by King David. Joab saw Amasa's slowness in mobilizing the army against Sheba's rebellion as evidence of this conspiracy, prompting him to murder Amasa. But was he right, or was he just being a real jerk? Joab, a respectful but Joab believed that Amasa was secretly supporting Sheba, who was leading a rebellion against King David. He saw Amasa's reluctance to mobilize quickly against Sheba as a confirmation of his conspiracy. When Amasa met with Joab at Gibeon, Joab pretended to be friendly, but then killed him. Joab's actions, while initially successful in removing a potential rival, led to further unrest and instability in the kingdom. Chapter 21. The 7 of Saul's sons hanged. They're going to hang all Saul's sons. God said your bloodline is going to be extinguished. Long time ago, God said this was going to happen. Then there was a famine in the days of David, 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, "It is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites." And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Okay, yeah. The Gibeonites, the Amorites were the ones that when they were going around wiping all the tribes out, remember they pledged themselves to be slaves of Israel if they wouldn't get killed. And Israel said yes, and they said, okay, well, make a vow to us that you're not going to kill us. And Israel said, yeah, we'll make a vow to you. We won't kill you, and you'll come live with us. You're going to help us fight our battles, and you're going to be our slaves pretty much. And they said, okay, we'll do it. We don't want to be dead. It's better than being dead. This is an example of a good reason to be a slave. You got 2 choices, dead or slave. Slavery ain't that bad, you know? And then Saul killed him anyway. Look, I'm going to ban Freddie from my Discord. Nah, I didn't ban him. I just deleted his message. Keep that crap up, Freddie. I bet you're watching right now. Keep that crap up. See if I don't ban you. All right. Wherefore David said unto the... Okay, Saul killed the Gibeonites anyway, the remnant of the Amorites, who pledged themselves to Israel. And that's why Saul and his house and his bloodline and his kingdom were all cursed. Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you? And wherewith shall I make the atonement that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gibeonites said unto him, we will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, what ye shall say, that will I do for you. And they answered the king, the man that consumed us and that devised against us, that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coasts of Israel, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. So they said, we want Saul's sons. We don't want his gold. We don't want his silver. All we want is his 7 sons. Bring them here. And David brought them there. But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul. So Saul's grandson Mephibosheth, David spared him, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. Jonathan said, please just make sure my family line lives on, David. And David said, yes. Remember, David and Jonathan were good friends. Jonathan's the one that shot the arrow to warn David about what Saul was doing, if Saul was planning on killing him or being nice, because Saul was dang bipolar, couldn't make up his mind whether he loved David or wanted to murder him. So Saul made a covenant with Jonathan that he wouldn't destroy Jonathan's lineage. So that's why Mephibosheth was spared. But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Meholathite. And he delivered them unto the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord. And they fell all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days in the beginning of barley harvest. They did. Ain't no sense praying for Saul's sons no more. They gone. I have a feeling your whole family's going down, Saul. And Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for her upon the rock, from the beginning of harvest until water dropped upon them out of heaven, and suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told David what Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh Gilead, which had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had slain Saul and Gilboa. Remember, the dudes ran up and they got the bones of Saul? They got the body of Saul. And David just got them back. And he brought up from thence the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and they gathered the bones of them that were hanged. And the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son buried they in the country of Benjamin, in Zalah, in the sepulchre of Kish his father. And they performed all that the king commanded, and after that God was entreated for the land. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel. And David went down, and his servants with him, and fought against the Philistines. And David waxed faint. David's getting tired. David's just tired. And Ishbi-Benob, which was the sons of the giant. Ishbi-Benob, the sons of the giant. I always highlight mentions of giants. We're about to be in chapter 22, so we're talking about giants now. We're about to see the reiteration of David and Goliath, where we see the textual error of saying that David killed the brother of Goliath, or Lamna killed the brother of Goliath, and you have to be text critical here, because it's a scribal error or a textual corruption due to degradation of the manuscripts, or could be lots of reasons, but basically it's a simple little line. A little line changes et to ahi, which is the difference between a possessive word or a word that doesn't, et, which doesn't translate into English, which just means, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a definite article sort of thing. It's like saying the, shows ownership, whereas ahi means the brother of. That one little line in Hebrew changes the et to the ahi. I think, if I remember right, I can pull it up. I think it's XYN, or it's a little apostrophe XYN. And that little apostrophe changes it from a definite article to the brother of. And that's why in chapter 22, we're about to see one of those things the atheists like to pull up about a biblical mistake. It's coming up here in a second. Well, we got a little while to go. I'm getting ahead of myself. But Ishbi-Benob, which was the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass in weight, he being girdled with a new sword, thought to have slain David. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, succored him, and smote the Philistine, and killed him. Then the men of David sware unto him, saying, Thou shalt go no more out with us to battle, that thou quench not the light of Israel. And it came to pass after this that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbechai, the Hushathite, slew Saph, which was the sons of the giant. They're wiping out all the giants. And there was, well, now they're wiping out the downlines of the giants. And there was again a battle in Gob with the Philistines, where Elhanan, the son of Jarioragim, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, the staff of whose spears was like a weaver's beam. So Elhanan, okay, that's the verse I was talking about. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. You could say Elhanan killed one of Goliath's brothers, or you see that Elhanan is very similar to, what's the word? Bethlehemite. The Hebrew is very close to Bethlehemite, and brother of Ahi is very close to Et. So this could be saying, this could just be talking about David killing Goliath, and it could be a textual corruption of the scripture, a corruption of the text. Or it could be a scribal error, or it could just be that a guy named Elhanan killed Goliath's brother. But it's more likely that it's simply a mistake in the manuscript, that this is just telling us David killed Goliath. But the words are very similar, in any small little, like a fleck of, because the ink they use, they're writing on like lambskin, a fleck of ink breaking off changes David killed Goliath to the Bethlehemite David killed Goliath, turns into Elhanan, which is an uncommon name. Elhanan killed the brother of Goliath. A couple ways we went over this before. I'm not going to go too deep into it. And there was yet a battle at Gath, where was a man, and we'll see it again in Second Chronicles, or maybe First Chronicles 20, somewhere in First or Second Chronicles 22, I think. And there was yet a battle in Gath, where was a man of great stature, that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number. And he was also born to the giant. And when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimeah, the brother of David, slew him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. See, so David killed Goliath, and then it goes through a list of his servants who killed other giants. The problem is when we get to Chronicles, it seems like the text changes. Chapter 22, and David spake unto the Lord. Hold on. I'm going to highlight this whole section because I like this. This is a commonly used attack by atheists on the Bible. They'll often bring up David and Goliath as a contradictory story. Chapter 22. And David spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hand of all his enemies and out of the hand of Saul. You ready for a song? I'm going to sing you guys a song. Sing me a song. I bet I love it. All right. And he said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower. Remember we talked about the horn way back a long time ago. We talked about the symbolism of the horn, and how I believe, this is my theory, when they put the horns on Satan in images, modern images and stuff, when they started adding horns to Satan, I think that is pagan art defiling something that's good. The horn does not represent evil. The horn was in the tabernacle. It was on the Ark of the Covenant. There were horns on the Ark of the Covenant. And I think when they started putting horns on Satan, that's what evil does. It takes good and it twists it just a little bit. The horn is actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower and my refuge, my Savior. Thou savest me from violence. I will call on the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. When the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. I always quote that, but it's in other places too. But cry out to the Lord in your time of need. Then the earth shook and trembled, and foundations of heaven moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured coals. Fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness pavilions round about him, dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared, the foundations of the world were discovered, at the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and away from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. Hold on a second. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me, because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the calmness of my hands hath he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them. I was also upright before him, and have kept myself from mine iniquity. Well, except for that thing with Bathsheba, but therefore the Lord hath recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyesight. With the merciful thou wilt show thyself merciful, and with the upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. With the pure thou wilt show thyself pure, and with the froward thou wilt show thyself unsavory. And the afflicted people thou wilt save, but thine eyes are upon the haughty, that thou mayest bring them down. For thou art my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness. For by thee I have run through a troop, by my God have I leaped over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all them that trust in him. For who is God save the Lord? And who is a rock save our God? God is my strength and my power, and he maketh my way perfect. Oh, I know people don't like hearing that. He maketh my way perfect. David's way was made perfect by God, but David still did things, quote unquote, wrong. That's interesting. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, so that my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies and destroyed them, and turned not again until I had consumed them. And I have consumed them and wounded them, that they could not arise. Yea, they are fallen under my feet. For thou hast girded me with strength to battle. Then this is like the putting on the armor of God. This is like the second time, and then in Ephesians, it happens again. Talks about the armor of God, not just once, but a lot throughout the Bible. This is the second time in the Old Testament. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They looked, but there was none to save, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not. Then did I beat them as small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the mire of the street, and did spread them abroad. Thou also hast delivered me from the strivings of my people. Thou hast kept me to be head of the heathen. A people which I knew not shall serve me. Based. Strangers shall submit themselves unto me. As soon as they hear, they shall be obedient unto me. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid out of their closed places. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of the rock of my salvation. It is God that avengeth me, and that bringeth me down the people under me, and that bringeth me forth from mine enemies. Thou also hast lifted me up on high above them that rose up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks unto thee, O Lord. Among the heathen I will sing praises unto thy name. This is awesome. He is the tower of salvation. He is the tower of salvation for his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, unto David and to his seed forevermore. Based. What up, John? I need to take a sip. What's up, Echo? It's getting hot. I mean, Echo's black with long furry hair. He's tired. He's always tired. You're always tired, Echo. I know it's hot. You can go lay by the air conditioner. You're getting old, buddy. I don't know what's wrong with his leg. He's been limping for like 3 weeks now. You okay, bud? He's a good boy. Look at your nose on the camera. You got some Echo nose action. Got some Echo nose action. Go lay down. Go lay down over there. It's cooler in here, huh? I should go turn on the air conditioner in the bedroom, so it'll be cool when I go to lay down. All right. We got 2 chapters left. And then I'll probably hang out with you guys for a little while I try to figure out how to get these overlays into what's it called? Stream Elements, so I can start using them. Anyway, chapter 23. Uh-oh. David ain't got much time left. Chapter 23. Now these be the last words of David. David, the son of Jesse, said, and the man who was raised up on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel said, the Spirit of the Lord spake by me, and his word was in my tongue. The God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. That's going to come in handy. Where are my bookmarks? He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. And he shall be as the light of the morning when the sun riseth, even a morning without clouds, as the tender grass springeth out of the earth by clear shining after rain. Although my house be not so with God, yet he hath made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things, and sure. For this is my salvation and all my desire, although he maketh it not to grow. But the sons of Belial shall be all of them as thorns thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. The sons of Belial, basically evil people, are going to be like thorns. But the man that shall touch them must be fenced with iron and the staff of a spear, and they shall be utterly burned with fire in the same place. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had. The Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains, the same was Adino, the Esnite. He lift up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. Woo! And after him was Eleazar, the son of Dodo, the Ahoite, one of the 3 mighty men with David, when they defiled the Philistines that were there gathered together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away. He arose and smote the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand clave unto the sword, and the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to spoil. And after him was Shammah the son of Agi, the Hararite, and the Philistines were gathered together into a troop where was a piece of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he stood in the midst of the ground and defended it, and slew the Philistines. And the Lord wrought a great victory. And 3 of the 30 chief went down and came to David in the harvest time unto the cave of Adullam. And the troop of the Philistines pitched in the valley of Rephaim. And David was then in an hold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David longed and said, Oh, that one would give me drink of water of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. And the 3 mighty men brake through the host of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord. So he just needed a drink of water, and they went and fought an army to get him some water. When they gave it to David, he poured one out for the homie God. He didn't even drink it. And he said, Be it far from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives? Therefore he would not drink it. These things did these 3 mighty men. And Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was chief among 3. And he lifted up his spear against 300 and slew them, and had the name among 3. Was he not most honorable of 3? Therefore he was their captain. Howbeit he attained not unto the first 3. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts, he slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. In the snow, he's killing lions. And he slew an Egyptian, a goodly man. And the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff, and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among 3 mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he attained not to the first 3. And David set him over his guard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Doda of Bethlehem. See, he's mentioned again. So Elhanan. Okay, so the giant in the giant in 2 Samuel 22 that is killed by Elhanan is a different giant than Goliath. But then it's in Chronicles that we see a different name. A different name kills Goliath. That's where the where the textual corruption is found as far as the David and Goliath story. These things did Benaiah, the son of Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem. Shammah, the Harodite. Elikah, the Harodite. Helez, the Paltite. Ira, the son of Ikesh, the Tekoite. Abiezer, the Anathothite. Mabunai, the Hushathite. Zalmon, the Ahoite. Maharai, the Netophathite. Heleb, the son of Bana, a Netophathite. Ittai, the son of Ribai, out of Gibeah of the children of Benjamin. Benaiah, the Parathonite. Hidai, of the brooks of Gaash. Abialbon, the Arbathite. Asmabeth, the Barhumite. Eliaba, the Shalabonite. The sons of Jashan, Jonathan. Shammah, the Hararite. Ahiam, the son of Sharar, the Hararite. Eliphalet, the son of Ahashbai, the son of the Maacathite. Eliam, the son of Hithophel, the Gilonite. Hezriah, the Carmelite. Paarai, the Arbite. Igal, the son of Nathan of Zobah. Benai, the Gadite. Zelek, the Ammonite. Nahari, the Beerothite. Armor bearer to Joab, the son of Zeruiah. Ira, the Ithrite. Garab, an Ithrite. Uriah, the Hittite, 30 and 7 in all. So those were David's greatest soldiers. Hola, Sisao. We're about to be done. Started early today, and then we're going to be doing some computer stuff for a bit. One more chapter, chapter 24. Last chapter. David's about to get punished. That was David numbering his greatest men. 37 of his greatest warriors. Pastor Huckleberry, funny seeing you here. You know who that is? I don't know who that is. I don't think he's here anymore, though. Chapter 24. And again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah. We're going to do some more census stuff, so this might be a little bit of some begats like we just had. The names are tough. Go number Israel and Judah. For the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people. And Joab said unto the king, now the Lord thy God add unto the people, how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that the eyes of my lord the king may see it. But why doth my lord the king delight in this thing? Notwithstanding, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the hosts. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. And they passed over Jordan and pitched in Aroer on the right side of the city that lieth in the midst of the river of Gad, and toward Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to the land of Tatim-Hadshi, and they came to Dan-Jaan, and about to Zidon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites, and of the Canaanites, and they went out to the south of Judah, even to Beersheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave up the sum of the number of people unto the king. And there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men that drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. Remember, the first count in numbers was what, like 350,000? Second count in numbers after lots of people died, what was it, like 40 years later, I think, was about the same. It was a little more. They gained like 10,000 people, but also during that time in numbers, they lose like 100,000 people. But they're making so many babies that even if they're going through all these battles and plagues and God's wiping out 24,000 people at one time with a plague, they still were making enough babies to replace their population and increase it during that time. Now, I'm not sure how many years later this is. We've had judges, 11 different judges, or however many different judges. We've had Samuel's time. We've had Saul's reign. We've had David's reign. Now, Judah and Israel are up to 800,000 and 500,000. Before, both of them together were 350,000. So they'd be making babies. I've seen his live streams a couple times. He nice. I think he left already. Because when he came in at the beginning, I was doing some stuff on the computer. I hadn't gotten started yet on this yet. Okay, 500,000 men in Judah, 800,000, and that's just fighting age men, right? That's who they're numbering. Remember, it's age 20 to 60, I think, if I remember right. Maybe 30 to 60. Fighting age men is who they're numbering. So if you count the women and the children, they're way over 1 million. And David's heart smote him after that he had numbered the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly in that I have done. And now I beseech thee, O Lord, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. Why is David upset? He was told to number the people. He sent Joab to number the people. Why is David, what's the problem here? 2 Samuel 24:10. David acknowledges his sin of taking a census of the Israelite people and expresses regret for his action. He confesses that his heart smote him for his foolishness and civil to David's conscience. Verse 10 states that David's heart smote him, indicates what? But I thought God told him to do the census. Did I read something wrong? Oh, no. It says, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel for Judah. He moved David against them. God's anger was kindled towards Israel, and he moved David to go against them and to do the census. So now David feels bad for ordering the census, but it tells you in verse 1 that God moved David to do that. God made David do something that David feels guilty of, and David's going to get punished for. I know that's hard for some people to wrap their brains around, but don't try too hard to understand God's ways, because you ain't going to be able to figure it out. 2 Samuel 24. 2 Samuel 24 recounts King David's sin of taking a census of the Israelite people, a decision that displeased God and resulted in a spoiler alert. I'm not going to read that yet. Let's just finish. Let's finish the chapter and then we'll look at the summary. I'm wondering why the census is a sin when God commanded a census in Numbers. This time God didn't command this. David commanded it, and it made God angry. Finally, I'm able to early live. What I do? What I do? What I do? All right. Take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. For when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came unto the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say unto David. Gad is one of the scribes of Samuel. Gad and Nathan are who we believe are the scribes of the 4 books of Kings. 1st and 2nd Samuel. What just happened on my computer? I just did something weird. What's my temperature? GPU temp 41 degrees. That's fine. Load is 14 gigabytes RAM load. We have 64, so that's fine. Liquid in the Kraken is 33 degrees. CPU temp is 55. So we're pushing it right now. We finally got it over 50 degrees. Let me see. It's because it's warming up outside. No, it says 40. Oh, the GPU is 41. Okay, GPU is 41. CPU is 62. Ooh, our CPU is up to 62. Hold on. Let me look for something real quick. A generally safe operating temperature for a CPU is considered to be below 85 degrees Celsius. Okay, well, we're only at 58, so we're good. Most CPUs can handle temperatures up to 95. Keeping them below 85 is recommended for long-term stability and longevity. Okay, we're way under 85. That's 185 degrees Fahrenheit. We're at 54. We're safe as long as we don't go over 85. And we can get up to 95, but that would only be if like we're stress testing or something. Wouldn't want to sustain over 85 for a long period of time. Sorry, I'm distracted with computer stuff. I've never seen my CPU get up this high. Maybe I just haven't noticed it. GPU is fine. It's not doing anything though. GPU load is only 13%. What's my CPU load? My CPU load is only 4%. We're only using 4% of our CPU, 20% of our GPU, 14%. GPU clock is 1357 megahertz. It can get up to 3800. So we're not even pushing it right now. We're not even pushing it right now. Okay. Where was I? Take away the, for when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say unto David, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee the 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee. So Gad came to David and told him, and said unto him, Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land? Or wilt thou flee 3 months before thine enemies, while they pursue thee? Or that there be 3 days pestilence in that land? Now advise, and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. And I think David's going to choose the 3 days of pestilence. So it's either 7 years of famine, 3 months of David running from his enemies, or 3 days of pestilence in Israel. And I'm pretty sure David's going to choose the pestilence for 3 days. And it's about to get rough. That's interesting. I did not know this. I've read this before, but I never really took any thought of it. So it says in verse 1 that God moved David to do the census because he was mad at Israel. Then David feels bad because he did the census, which God didn't want him to do. But God moved him to do it. Then God gives David 3 options of a punishment. That's pretty wild. This is why I say the only way you can logically make sense of all of this is to say God is just the author of a great story. He's just the author of the story. And we're just characters in the story. We have feelings and emotions and all this stuff, but this is just stuff in our brains. It's not real. We're just characters in a story. This isn't reality. That's deep. That's deep. The real life is after this life. I was listening to a thing last night. They were talking about simulation theory, and somebody was saying simulation theory is an atheist idea. I disagree. Simulation, if I'm kind of like simulation theory because essentially the world, our mind, our body, everything we see, everything we touch, our senses, our taste, it's all just a simulation. And really, the real world, we're in the Matrix, and I forget. Is the Matrix we're in the Matrix. The real world is heaven and hell. And being with God or apart from God, that's the real life. This is just the simulation, and the simulator, the creator, the designer is God. I think simulation theory is perfectly compatible with Christianity. What you think about that? You ever thought about that? Think about it. Don't think too hard, though. You might break your brain. And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let us fall now into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning even to the time appointed. And there died of the people from Dan, even to Beersheba, 70,000 men. Dang, David, that was kind of selfish of David. David picked the 3 days of pestilence and 70,000 Israelites died. Seems kind of selfish of David. I don't see why he didn't pick running from his enemies for 3 months. He's ran from his enemies before and he's been fine. Why didn't he just say, okay, I'm going to run from my enemies for 3 months. I'll be back in 3 months and I'll take over again. But David's getting old by now. His life is drawing to an end. So he doesn't want to die at the hands of his enemies. But it just seems kind of selfish. Granted, David didn't know that when he picked 3 days of pestilence, it meant that 70,000 people were going to die. But that's what happened. Dang. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from morning until even to the time appointed. From morning even to the time appointed, and there died of the people from Dan, even to Beersheba, 70,000 men. And when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented him of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed the people, It is enough. Stay now thine hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing place of Araunah the Jebusite. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people, and said, Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. And this is I'd like to talk to somebody who says that the angel of the Lord is always Jesus in the Old Testament. So you think that was Jesus that did that? You think that was that angel of the Lord that just wiped out 70,000 people? Was that Jesus? The turn the other cheek guy? Try to stay consistent now. I can do it. Can you do it? If you say the angel of the Lord is Jesus, explain to me why the angel of the Lord just wiped out 70,000 people and was about to destroy all of Jerusalem, and God had to stop him. God had to. So you're telling me you're telling me Jesus wiped out 70,000 people, and then God had to stop Jesus, who he is, from killing all of them? That's what you're telling me? Come on now. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people, and said, Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, be against me and against my father's house. Well, you should have picked that in the first place, David. And Gad came that day to David and said unto him, Go up, rear an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And David, according to the saying of Gad, went up as the Lord commanded. And Araunah looked and saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. And Araunah went out and bowed himself before the king on his face upon the ground. And Araunah said, Wherefore is my lord the king come to his servant? And David said, To buy the threshing floor of thee, to build an altar unto the Lord, that the plague may be stayed from the people. And Araunah said unto David, Let my lord the king take and offer up what seemeth good unto him. Behold, here be oxen for burnt sacrifice, and threshing instruments, and other instruments of the oxen for wood. All these things did Araunah as a king give unto the king. And Araunah said unto the king, The Lord thy God accept thee. And the king said unto Araunah, Nay, but I will surely buy it off thee at a price. Neither will I offer burnt offerings unto the Lord my God of that which doth cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar unto the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord was entreated for the land, and the plague was stayed from Israel. And that is the end of 2 Samuel. David's not dead yet. So we're still going to get some. Yeah. As soon as King starts off, we get right into Solomon. First and second chapter is Solomon is going to be David's successor. David's charge to Solomon. Adonijah is put to death. Joab gets slain here coming up pretty soon. And Shimei. That's the dude that threw rocks at him. Solomon prays for wisdom. We covered that on the show a while ago. I'm almost caught up to my bookmark from the last time that I was reading through the Bible from front to back. And I got halfway. And then I stopped and started streaming, and I just started jumping all around. I'm almost caught up to myself. Kings gets a little Kings gets a little bigatty. Like we get a little bigatty in Kings. Third Kings. I'm going to start calling it Third Kings and start calling Samuel First and Second Kings. Because it's really not even. I mean, Samuel's not really even in a lot of Samuel. I like First Kings, Second Kings, Third Kings, Fourth Kings. But chapter 4 is a lot of begats. And that's where that's where I kind of got like, oh man, begats and begats and begats and begats. But and they're pretty big chapters too. I think we have big chapters all the way up until the end of Second Chronicles. But that's it for Second Samuel. That was a wild finale to Second Samuel. A lot of stuff to think about there. It says the Lord was wroth with Israel, and he moved David to do a census. Then David does a census, and he says, I'm sorry, Lord, punish me for my iniquities. I wasn't supposed to do the census. Now, why was a census bad? Because God didn't say to do it? Because they do 2 censuses in Numbers and God orders it. So why this time is the census wrong? That's what I'm wondering. David, against his own judgment, orders a census of the fighting men in Israel and Judah. The census, although seemingly innocent, is seen as a sin against God, as it reflects a lack of trust in God's provision and a desire to measure the strength of Israel in human terms rather than divine favor. Okay, so it's pretty much just because God didn't order it. So there's basically, the census is not something you should do every year. It's something you don't need to do the census unless God tells you to do the census. People will say, well, does that mean God's rules change? No. The rule is the same. Do what God says to do. That's it. It's that easy. Well, what if he tells you to do blah, blah, blah? Yeah, do it. Fill in the blank with whatever crazy thing you want to fill it in with. It doesn't matter. Right is what God says is right. I don't want to hear about no what's that dilemma? Something dilemma? Euphrates dilemma, something like that. Shiva would know. Where's Shiva? And then he says, David, you got 3 options of a punishment. You can run for 3 months. You can have famine for 7 years, which that would have sucked. That's like that. Just get rid of that option, okay? We're not taking 7 years of famine. But David could have ran from his enemies for 3 months and been pursued by his enemies for 3 months, or 3 days of plague, of pestilence. I would probably, it's selfish. It's selfish to pick I feel like the correct answer is, I'm going to be chased by my enemies. You take responsibility. You man up. You say, it's my fault. Punish me. I'm going to run from my enemies for the next 3 months. And then you hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back for 3 more months until they're done. But David didn't want anything to happen to him. He didn't want to be taken by the hands of his enemies, which was not part of the punishment. God didn't say, get chased for 3 months by your enemies and get killed by your enemies. He just said you're going to run from your enemies for 3 months. You've ran from them before and you were fine. Why are you going to die this time? David was scared. David was afraid. And he was being a little selfish, it seems like. So he's like, well, 7 years of famine versus 3 days of plague. 3 days of plague can't be that bad. Let's take the 3 days. I'll do 3 days of plague. 70,000 Israelites dead. Boom. Boom. It's also interesting because I've often questioned whether angels have free will. The way I read that seems like the angels had free will, because the angel of the Lord was just getting trigger happy, just wiping people out left and right. And he was about to kill all of them. And God had to rein him in. And God had to say, no, no, no. Don't kill all of them. Stop it. And God had to stop the angel of the Lord. which I believe is Michael, the warrior angel. That sounds like something Michael would do. Michael just bloodthirsty. Michael just out here slaying. Anyway, that's it for 2 Samuel. I'm going to sit here and mess with the computer for a little bit. You guys, if you have any like questions or want to talk about anything. Where's Teriak? If Teriak wants to, I don't know if he wants more time. I don't know how long. Yeah, I'm only going to be live for like another hour. Teriak wants to have a discussion with me about Job. I want to review what I said about Job a long time ago, and then we're going to have to read Job again before I talk to him to see if anything's changed. Yeah, I want to see if any of my thoughts on it have changed from when I did it a while ago. Let's see. I'll probably just let this play while I search Job JS. Did I ever make a video of this? It'll be easier if I made a video. I don't think I did. Hopefully I can find the stream. Lessons from Job. It's right here. Get your root beer ready. What up, Lord Bibby? Lord Colin B in here. Got a new subscriber to the channel. Lord Luca, you in here? Hold on, give me one moment, guys. Oh, this is. I'm gonna start us off with a song here in a second. I got everything. All the ladies, all the wannabe ladies. Happy birthday. Shout out. Shout out. Shout out. Lil Wayne, you know what Lil Wayne's got to say about it? God bless America. This so godless America. That's what Lil Wayne got to say about it. I heard tomorrow ain't promised today. This is 2 years ago. The end of the world is like an hour away. What's up? This is the 4th of July show from 2 years ago. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Monday nights, we popping in the red. Am I popping? Am I popping? 4th of July. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, guys. You see the shirt. You see what's up. What's going on. In other news. Do I got anything other? Yeah. In other news. And we can talk about this stuff throughout the whole show. So we'll constantly. Here's this isn't really, I don't really know how this is related. This is about secret societies from JFK.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. Yeah, I know. Everything they were saying, I have like rebuttals on deck for everything that they were saying. But the problem is, Easy wouldn't have liked my rebuttal, so I would have ended up arguing with Easy because
it's coming at it from a whole different angle. But all those problems that they kept bringing up, also uh, a lot of just, and I think me and Easy debating with them, it would be like it could be like a good team because he's more just the logical, commonsensical arguments, and then I'm gonna be more the Bible guy. So whenever they try to say anything from the Bible, like on that VK where Shiva was bringing up the Bible stuff, I knew what he was saying didn't make no sense, but I need more than 5 minutes. You know, if you have 5 minutes and there's 4 people debating, I don't have time to open my Bible and to read the chapter and to really make the argument. There's 4 people in a 5-minute debate. You know, I was like, I can't do this right now. I kept wanting to open it and read it and think about it and read through it a little bit to get the full context, but I didn't have time. But on a long form thing like that, then I could really get into the scripture. It was tailored for I got answered. Dude, a lot of the reasons that I believe the stuff that I say things the way I say it and I believe the way I believe is because it's how I deal with atheists. Because when they come up with all these questions and they find these, because for a while I was trying to deconstruct. I was trying to go through the Bible and find every contradiction, go through the Bible and find every inconsistency. And I thought, you know, I keep hearing from atheists, oh, well, this is wrong in the Bible, and this is this and this and this. So I would go through and I would like study all these arguments that atheists make. And then I would either try to justify it and say, okay, well, that's not a mistake because of this, or that's the problem you think there is because of this, or you're not reading that in context. But a lot of times I kept coming back to problems where I was like, yeah, this does seem contradictory, but there is a way to see it. The problem is you have to abandon free will. If you abandon free will, none of that's a problem anymore. There is no contradiction. It just simply is. Well, I know that's tough for people, especially when we've been taught by every pastor and every church and we're not taught it by the Bible. We're taught it by men. It's hard to let that go. Also, it's not a heresy. Not believing in free will is not a heresy. Now, it can lead you to things that are considered heresies. But anyway, I'm trying to find where I start talking about Job. This is the Bible stream. It's not supposed to be political.
Incel to not get somebody pregnant.
Look at, remember this? When Joe Biden fell off his bike and they got a picture of Trump doing a stand-up wheelie on a Harley. This is the meme review from way back when. Okay, it looks like I pulled the Bible out, so it's right after memes.
Angry at God and get turned off by God. We're about to go into our little theology section. Nah, man, the song sucks. Should think it like this. Great show, Josh. Thank you, Swan Song. Hi. Nice.
Yeah, and even if I'm wrong and we do have free will, it still throws the atheists off because they come in expecting you to believe in free will as a Christian. So when you don't, it messes up all their arguments. It totally throws them off. So even if well, I want to see you debate more people about it. I don't want to keep doing free will, but I'm always down to do talk talk to atheists, debate with atheists about God. I've never done a God. Well, I've never done a formal debate on God's existence. But I've debated tons of atheists about it. It's just not formally, just not. I've been doing it my whole life. I just haven't done it in a structured, moderated, formal debate.
Guitar.
Okay, I'm watching this to see what I said about Job 2 years ago, thinking that nothing's changed.
Nice. So, the eternal question, why does God let bad things happen? Why do babies die? Why do people get cancer? You know, we kind of touched on this with Angie and Robbie's call, and that was nice because it ties in. And she was saying how she didn't get angry. And when Rich called into Luca's show, I heard a lot of anger. I heard a lot of sadness. And, excuse me, I understand it. But, you know, and there is a time to mourn. When my dad died of cancer, I hadn't seen him in 10 years. My stepdad, he's my dad. He raised me. But just so you guys know, it's my stepdad, just so people don't get confused. But, you know, he died of prostate cancer last year, and I mourned for like 3 days, and I had a plane ticket to go visit them because I knew he was getting really sick. And he died like 5 days before my flight, and I hadn't seen him in 10 years. And I mourned for like 3 days, and I kind of realized, and I think this is the case in all of our mourning is selfish. When we mourn someone who died, we're being selfish. We're not mourning for them. We're mourning for us, because I realized I wasn't sad that he was dead. I wasn't sad that he wasn't feeling this pain anymore, because he was in pain for 6 years. He had cancer, and I wasn't sad that he was gone. I was actually kind of not happy, because it's not an emotional thing, but I was joyous that his suffering was over and that he was going back to God. And I wasn't upset because I knew where he was. He wasn't lost to me, which we're going to talk about that when we talk about Job. But so I was joyous, and I realized I was just sad because I didn't get to see him before he died, because I knew he was sick. I had the plane ticket for like a month and a half, 2 months, and he died 5 days before I was going to be there and see him. And I wasn't going to forgive him or anything. I've already forgiven my mother, and I've already returned to my biological father. And I didn't have anger towards my stepdad or my biological father. I had anger and resentment towards my mother, and I forgave her for that. And it really changed my life more than a lot of things that, you know, Christians say will change your life and stuff. You have to go and forgive. You have to honor your mother and father. It's the golden rule. You have to honor them by forgiving them, and that's how you'll be free from this anger. But Rich was talking about how his wife passed away, his brother passed away, and that's what, and he kept repeating that the world is not fair. The world is not fair. The world is not fair. And he's right. The world is not fair. And so wouldn't you have some joy that they don't have to be in this world anymore? If you know where they're going when they die, and you know, then they're not lost to you, and you don't feel that pain. But basically, the story I'll relate this to in the Bible is Job. Job's one of my favorite books of the Bible. So, and the whole question in Job is, why do bad things happen to good people?
Teriak wants to, he said we can do a debate, like a moderated debate on somebody's channel, or we can just do a discussion on your channel. And I said, well, I don't think this is it. His argument is that Satan is the good guy in Job. that God was in the wrong and Satan is actually the protagonist. I think I don't have a whole lot of information on where he's coming at from with this. And I was like, well, I don't know how I can make a whole debate around this because I don't even know. I said, are you coming from like a Gnostic position that God is an evil demiurge and that the serpent in the garden is actually Jesus? Because that is a Gnostic belief. In the New Testament, a couple times Jesus is compared to the serpent. Jesus is called, what is he called? He's called the same thing that the serpent is called. They said the serpent was it's like a word for sly. Sly like a serpent, but it's not sly. It's like what's the word? Is Seasal still here? What's the word I'm thinking of? Crafty? No. But it means like sly or crafty, like a serpent. Jesus, they use that same word to describe Jesus in the New Testament. So the argument that the Gnostics make is that the God of the Old Testament is not actually that the God of the Old Testament is actually an evil demiurge, and that the serpent in the Old Testament is actually Jesus, later is Jesus, and that's why the serpent tells Adam and Eve to eat of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, so that because the evil God doesn't want them to be like him. So the serpent says, eat it so you can be like him. And then the serpent later becomes Jesus in the New Testament. This is a Gnostic belief. And so I asked Teriak, is that like what you're getting at? Because then we can, like, I know what I can look into and how I could debate it. Cunning, maybe it's cunning. I think it is cunning. But it's like that type of word. But anyway, he said, no, not really, but they would agree with me. His argument is that Satan is the good guy in Job. And he said we could do a debate about it. And I was like, well, I don't think there's enough content here to do a 1.5, 2 hour formal debate on this topic. Like, it'd probably be better just to be a discussion. We'll just talk about it for a little while, and then maybe some other people we'll just do it, me and him, for like an hour. We'll just talk about it, and then we'll have some other people join in and give their thoughts on it. But making it a full, like, moderated debate, and somebody's got to be there to moderate it, and we got to set it up and all this stuff, and then I got to write an opening. I don't know if I can. I don't have enough information of where he's coming from, or what we're even like. I'm just going to argue God's not the bad guy in Job because God's not the bad guy. So I said I would have to use the whole Bible. Like, I would just use the whole Bible to explain why this is totally on character for God. Like, this is all part of his plan, and this is all also, I'll probably talk about it. I'm going to talk about it here in this video. I'm going to talk about when Job was written and how some people don't like when I say this, but if you research into it, you'll see Job takes place before Moses, but it's written most likely by Isaiah or Jeremiah. So it's written 1,000 years later. And what not most, but what a lot of scholars believe, and what I believe, is that Job was not actually a real man. Job is a story. And this is like when Jordan Peterson will say it's an archetypal story for all of time. Now, Jordan Peterson will take it farther. He'll say that's the story of Cain and Abel. That's the story of Adam and Eve. That's the story of Noah. That's the story of... Jordan Peterson says the whole Bible is that. I think there are literal men in the Bible who were real men who walked the earth. Moses. I believe the literal story of the Garden of Eden. Noah was, I believe, the literal story of the flood. But the story of Job, and I'm not sure about that. I don't know this. I'm just saying I believe the story of Job is just that. It's a story. And because of when it was written, who we think it was written by, the author is anonymous, but people have guessed that it's Isaiah or maybe Jeremiah who wrote it, and when it was written compared to when it takes place. So, but maybe it's either way, whether it's a true story or it's just a metaphorical story, doesn't matter. Like, I would have to use the whole Bible to explain why God is not the bad guy in the story of Job. But Teriak said he just wants to talk about Job. So I think you would. The only way he could be right is if Job should not be in the Bible. Like, if it's true, if Teriak is correct, that means that Job shouldn't be in the Bible. It would be like a Gnostic gospel or something, and I don't think it is. I don't know. I see. I need to talk to him, and I need to hear where he's coming from to be able to address whatever he's saying, because I really don't get it. I kind of get it. I get where people. I don't know, but I want to keep watching this to see, because this will just give me a recap of Job.
Why does God let bad things happen? And that's what Job is questioning. And spoiler alert, God doesn't answer the question. He does. He answers it. He actually, his answer is that the premise of the question is wrong. So we'll get to that in a second. But so basically,
he tells Job it's above your pay grade.
Chapter 1
don't worry about it.
Introduces us to Job. So the book of Job
you
is
shouldn't
written.
Even be asking
there's
me
an
this.
intro, there's an outro.
This is important,
and those are very story-ish. It's telling a story. You know, it's written.
The middle
like a
section
story.
Is all poetry.
And Job is the writer of Job is anonymous. We don't know who the writer of Job is. We know it was written probably in the times of Israel and when the Israelites were slaves and stuff. So it was probably written after Moses, or it was definitely written after Moses, but their story they're telling is a fable from before Moses, from before Mosaic law. And the story is basically, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. So Job was perfect before the Mosaic law. He had children. You know, he was rich. He had sheep. He had here. Let me see. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 she asses, and a very great household. So this was the greatest of all men of the East. He had 7 sons, 3 daughters, and basically God was holding counsel with all of his sons, what the Bible calls his sons being the angels, and Satan. And the word Satan in this Hebrew context is Satan. It means the accuser or the adversary. So this is before Satan was cast out of heaven. They were basically, you know, having this thing. And
I'm reviewing my Bible study of Job from 2 years ago to refresh my memory from when I studied Job pretty deeply. I think I went on a camping trip for like 3 days, and I just studied Job for 3 days in the woods. It was pretty cool.
And
I do that a lot. That's usually what I'll do when I go camping. I'll pick a book in the Bible and I'll just read it over and over again. And I'll save stuff on my phone, websites on my phone, because I don't have service out there, but I'll like screenshot or I'll download the page so I can get it offline, and I'll read a lot about the book that I'm reading while I'm camping. This is in the video. Yeah, this is a stream I did like 2 years ago. This was on July 4th of, I guess, 2023.
Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? And there's none like him in the earth, perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught?
2022.
Hast not thou made and
So this is actually almost 3 years ago. The way YouTube shows dates is weird. This is almost 3 years ago. This is July 4th, 2022.
A hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side. Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in thy power. Only upon him put not forth thine hand. So basically, Satan said, Look, of course Job is perfect. Job's got everything. Job's got a house. Job got a business. He's got a huge corporation. Job is like rich in his time. Not rich, but wealthy. You know, Job has everything. Job's got a huge, great family. And basically Satan said, let me go touch that. Let me go touch that, and we'll see Job spit in your face. And God says, fine, but don't touch Job. And basically in verse 1, Satan.
So it seems like God's already being a protector figure, a father figure. He's saying, yeah, you can mess with all of his stuff, but don't touch Job. Because the stuff doesn't matter.
Satan just takes out everything. Takes out all the oxen, all the camels, all the sheep, destroys all.
Also, when all of this is over, it's not Job, or it's not Satan who pays Job back twice what he had. And actually, Job gets back double what he lost on earth, but he actually has triple, because when he goes to heaven, he's going to have all of it. So he actually gains triple.
All of it. And Job doesn't get angry. Job doesn't turn from God. So in chapter 2, Satan says that Job still follows because I couldn't touch him. And God says, fine, you can touch Job, but spare his life. So Satan, this is before Job. They had a name for leprosy. But basically, we can assume, based on how it's described, that Job was plagued with leprosy. He had sores all over his body. His skin was falling off. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't lay down. He was in pain. He had aches and pains, and he was hurting in his body. So it's like he lost all of his and also his kids. He lost all of his kids. Their house was hit by a tornado while they were at a party. Or it says heavy winds came through, so a hurricane, a tornado, some sort of natural disaster. You know, the Chaldeans came, they killed all the sheep and everything. And then a storm came and it killed all his children. But he still had his health, right? He still had his health, and he still didn't curse God. Then his health was taken. And then he's like, that's when he starts to question things. So let's see. And then in Job 2:9, you know, you'd think that, well, he's got his wife still. And his wife's a good woman, right? She's going to be on his side. No. In Job 2:9,
no, of course not.
The wife takes Satan's side. The wife
Shocker.
says, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Basically, the wife says to him, you know, you'd be better off cursing God and killing yourself. Why do you still praise God? Why do you still? So, and this is that feminine spirit that is repeated throughout the Bible. You know, this is why the men need to lead, because even his wife,
I said lead,
turns on him and says, you know, you need to turn back to God. Leave. Then Job's three friends come. Job's three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. And basically, Eliphaz is the well-traveled one. He's been all over the world. He's explored things. He's had experiences. So he knows what he's talking about. We have Bildad. Bildad is the Bible thumper before the Bible existed. Bildad is the one who knows the laws. He knows the rules. He knows everything. He uses these biblical things to attack people. He's like a Bible thumper. He's like the one who has a verse for everything, and they're just gonna drop it on you, and they use it to beat you in arguments and things like this. This is Bildad. And then we have Zophar. Zophar is the know-it-all. Zophar knows everything. You can't question Zophar. You can't argue with Zophar. Zophar knows everything. And so for Job 2 through 2 through, I would say, what do I have here? 2 through 11 is basically just back and forth between Job and each of his friends. Chapter 3, because Job starts to curse his life. He doesn't curse God, but he curses his life. He says, "Why is this happening to me? Why? Why? My life sucks. This is horrible." And 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 Eliphaz in chapter 4 and 5 comes and he rebukes Job, and he basically hints that maybe Job wasn't doing everything he should have been doing. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why all this happens. Job says, "No, I am. I really am. I'm doing everything right. I don't understand it." And then Bildad comes. Bildad actually accuses Job. He says, "You're not doing things right, and that's why this is happening to you." This is where we see, or in Job 4:8, when Eliphaz is saying it, we see he says, "Don't we know that you reap what you sow?" And then we see this later in Galatians 6:7-9, when they talk about you will reap what you sow in due time. The key word in the Galatians is in due time. It doesn't come on your time. It comes on God's time. And we'll see by the end of Job that he does reap what he sows, But for the time being, he's struggling, right? And Bildad comes and accuses him. Job answers Bildad and defends himself, but he's still confused. He's confused because he doesn't understand why this is happening to him. And also, just fun little fact, maybe we'll look deeper into it, but in Job 6, where's it at? I had it highlighted. In Job 6 through 6:8, we have a little bit of flat earther stuff. That's where they get a lot of their ammo from, is in Job, when it talks about the four
The
corners of the earth and the pillars.
Yeah.
I have it highlighted somewhere.
Dude, I used to
This would
always call out
be
the flat earthers.
Job 9, 6, and 7.
Can't
Unrelated,
stand
but
a
a little
flat
flat
earther.
earth stuff can be found in this section. Which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble, which commandeth not the sun, and it rises not, and sealeth up the stars. This is a verse flat earthers often use. What they don't understand is this is all written poetically, and that if you take all of this literally, then it doesn't make any sense. It just won't make sense. But we're not going to go into that right now.
Yeah, I thought I mentioned it a little bit, but I thought that I expanded more. Well, I said there's an intro and then a middle section and an outro, basically. The beginning of Job, I think it's the first 2 chapters, and then the end of Job, I think it's the last chapter, maybe 2 chapters, are written as narratives. But the whole middle chunk of Job is allegory. It's poetry. It's not to be taken literally. Now, that doesn't mean it. So if I say in Job 44, it talks about the behemoth and the Leviathan, does that mean that they're not literal creatures? Well, they were literal creatures, but it's using a metaphor. It's using them as the metaphor. What's up, Pastor Huckleberry? Job. I just want to go and look at something real quick. See, you can see I've got lots of notes on Job. I've studied Job extensively. Trying to see. I think it's the first. Okay, it's the first 11 chapters of Job are a narrative. Then it goes to poetic writing for chapter 12 through. Wait, what am I? Maybe I have this backwards. I don't know. I forget the. Maybe I have it backwards. Maybe it's parable. No, because this is still Bildad and them conversing. God calls man. God cannot be unjust. Maybe it's the beginning and the end that's poetic, and then the middle chunk is narrative. I forget. This is why I'm watching this again. Because I'm looking through it now, and the middle chunk still seems like narrative. Maybe it's each chapter it starts, because like chapter 34, for example, it says, furthermore, Elihu answered and said, hear my words, O ye wise men, and give ear unto me that have knowledge. For the ear trieth the words, and the mouth tasteth meat. Let us choose us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job hath said, I am righteous, and God hath taken away my judgment. Should I lie against my right? My wound is incurable without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water, which goeth in company with the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men? For he hath said, it profited a man nothing that he should delight himself with God. Therefore hearken unto me, ye of men understanding. I can't remember.
And it goes back and forth. Then Zophar comes, and Zophar is the worst. Zophar not only accuses Job of being a sinner.
What month is White History Month? July. Because July just feels white. This was made in July. This is made on the 4th of July in 2022 is when I did this stream.
Job says if God really was just towards you, you'd be burning in hell right now.
And I got my White History Month ready to go as soon as July starts. That shirt right there. I've only worn it a handful of times because I only wear it in July.
Now, and Job denies this again. And they keep going back and forth. And then in Job 25, a boy named Elihu comes, and Elihu is the this shows the wisdom of the babes. Elihu's smarter than all of them. Elihu's like, no, your friends are wrong, Job. You are doing right. And you shouldn't be questioning God. You shouldn't be questioning God. And then finally in chapter 38, God speaks. God comes. Job tells some parables, and then God comes. In chapter 38, God speaks. So we're gonna.
You know what? Maybe I'm thinking of it. Maybe I'm thinking of Jonah. That starts with narrative and then it goes to metaphor or poetry. I don't know what I'm thinking of. So ignore all that.
We're gonna read some of that. Then the Lord answered Job. This is chapter 38. I'm just gonna pick a bunch of some verses that I have highlighted. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? In verse 4, where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding.
When an eagle catches the dang
are the
fish.
Foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? This is more stuff flat earthers use. But basically, this is God. In verse 12, hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring to know his place? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadows of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest all. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Palladius? I'm not sure what that one is.
Can you tame a behemoth and a leviathan?
Or loose the bands of Orion? What he's talking about there, basically,
Orion's belt, the stars.
Tarot Destroyer.
The stars are held together by the powers and the principalities, or one of the levels of angels, one of the levels of the celestial body of angels holds the stars in balance. It says that a number of times in the Bible. So when he says, can you loose Orion's belt? Do you hold Orion's belt? It's talking about the 3 stars. God's basically saying, Job, what are you asking me why I'm doing what I'm doing? Do you hold the stars in the sky? Because I do. There's some reference about the eagle swooping down and catching. Do you make the eagle catch the fish? It doesn't say it just like that, but it basically says, Job, do you make the eagle catch the fish? Do you hold the stars in the sky? Can you tame a behemoth or a leviathan? Because I can. And that's the way God answers the question. He says, you have no business asking me this, Job. This is way above your pay grade. It's none of your business why I do what I do. I'm in charge. I just do it, and it's right because I do it. Don't worry about it. Take no thought of tomorrow.
Be sober, be on the alert. Your adversary, the devil, walks around roaring like a lion, looking for someone to devour. Facts, Tarot Destroyer. Oh, can we request photos of the... But yeah, so basically what God comes and begins saying to Job is...
This is back when I maintained 30 viewers.
I make the grass grow so that the goats have food to graze on. I make thunder and lightning in places where no man exists, just so that the world can work. He looks at the stars. He says, look at Orion's belt. You see Orion, how those 3 stars are linked together? He said every star in the universe is where it needs to be for a purpose. Everything is connected together. Can you unloose Orion's belt? Can you make those stars go away? No. Basically, what God comes down and says is, you're a wee little man. You don't know anything. You know nothing about how the universe works. You can't comprehend it. You don't understand these things. I make it rain. I make everything work, right? I make the sun rise and go down. And this is all basically God's answer to Job. His answer is, the premise of your question is wrong. Why does God let bad things happen? Who are you to judge what's bad and what's good? Don't be selfish and think, oh, woe is me. Woe is me. These bad things happen to me. You don't understand the complexities of the universe.
I don't know if it's the camera or what, but I was thicker back then. I'm stronger now. I don't know if it's the camera or what, but I looked thicker back then. I think maybe I had more fat on me, but I look a little thicker back then. Maybe it's the hair and the beard that makes me look thicker.
Everything happens for a reason, and we can't control these things. And who are you to judge this? Who are you to be upset about this? You're questioning God. What are you? You're just a little man. You come and go like nothing. He says, what about the... He said, can you look over at that eagle and make it fly away? No. He talks about some animal lays its eggs and they get trampled and they get destroyed. That animal doesn't go and cry that it just lost all its children, because that animal doesn't have knowledge. You do have knowledge, but you shouldn't be doing that either. You don't understand these things. There's a balance. People die. Life on Earth, we're right now we're just a big bag of meat flesh, and we can't comprehend these things. We shouldn't be cursing God or going to God because we don't understand God. We can't. It's too complex for us to possibly imagine. He controls everything. So that's basically what the answer to the question is. The answer to the question is that the premise of the question is wrong. God doesn't let bad things happen. There's no such thing as good things and bad things in God's eyes. They're just things that happen, and it's all part of life. It's all part of the natural order of things, God's natural order. And Yeah. So and just another fun thing that we'll get into deeper, but also Job 40 and 41, two of my favorite chapters because they talk about
You
biblical
waved your boob?
dinosaurs. So Job also talks about unicorns. Your concordance will tell you that it could be referring to rhinoceroses, but I think it's funnier
Rhinoceri?
to imagine that they're actual unicorns. And then in 40 and 41, we talk about Behemoth and Leviathan. Now, some scholars will try to point towards Behemoth
Hippopotamus?
being a hippopotamus or an elephant,
Dumb.
but it
Dumb.
specifically mentions that
Has a tail like a cedar.
um, the mountains bring forth the mountains bring him forth food where all the beasts of the field play. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His tail is like a cedar
The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. That's talking about his nuts. He lets the nuts hang.
tree. So that's not an elephant and that's not a hippopotamus. What I think that is maybe like a brontosaurus or a
Sinews?
brachiosaurus,
I don't know what that is.
one of these dinosaurs with a huge long neck, and that's what it means by he reaches up into the mountains for its food. He's tall, he's humongous, he's got maybe a long neck and a long tail to balance it out. How God go and answer your prayers when you ain't praying to him? Yep, that's true. That's true. But yeah, so Behemoth and Leviathan totally
uh,
not related, but they are fun, a lot of fun.
no, no, Yoda. Yoda might have been in my chat when this happened. Yoda was back there back in the day. Um, no, I don't regret. I don't regret not having them, but sometimes I see guys with dreads, and I'm like, oh, mine were way cooler. That's about it, though.
Fun things in Job. Job's a fun book, but Leviathan, they say is an alligator. No, alligators don't breathe fire. And
Ew.
if you're wondering what I'm talking about, this is Job 41:19. We're talking about the Leviathan. God is saying basically, God is saying, look, I control the Leviathan. Can you put a hook in Leviathan's mouth and catch him? Nah, you can't. His teeth are jagged. He's huge. He stirs the waters of the deep. He boils the waters of the deep. From his mouth, excuse me, out of his mouth go burning lamps and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostril goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. And and basically that's just God saying, look at these amazing. Look around you. Look around you. Can you make that grass grow? Can you make the sun rise and set? Did you create the earth? No. So who are you questioning? Who are you angry at? You don't even you got no reason to be mad. But in chapter 42, we have a happy ending to the story. Job is for his obedience because Job never cursed God. Job did curse his own life.
And here's how you know that Satan is not the good guy in Job. Because God gives Job back double. Plus, he gets his original family when he goes to heaven. So he gets everything he had. Then he gets everything he had doubled. So he has triple what he started with by the end.
Job did question God. Job said, why did you let this happen to me?
So he reaps what he
And
sows.
and Satan ran his mouth to get all this to happen to Job. And Job turned all that off because Satan doesn't say another word until the New Testament when he tempts Jesus. Satan doesn't have nothing to say because Job shuts him down. Job was a necessary man. He showed that God loves us more than he loves Satan, and that God has given Satan dominion over the earth, and that Satan is the one who causes these bad things to happen. But a lot of these things aren't bad. We think they're bad. Our egos tell us that it's bad when a child dies. But you know what? If an innocent child dies, which I'm not justifying killing children, but at least all these aborted babies don't have to deal with all this crap in life. That's innocence. That's innocence. And I'm not justifying abortion. I'm just saying, you know, we don't we don't need to pray for them. We can let the dead bury the dead because they're in a better place. Doesn't mean we should stop fighting to keep like abortions from happening, but I would never say, why does God let abortions happen? Because I know God doesn't let abortions happen. I know wickedness causes abortions to happen. All of these things are evil in the world. And even and
All these people constantly questioning me about free will has made me. So that's what I would have said 3 years ago. But all these people constantly coming at me about free will, I guess I've like taken it farther now. And now I just say, yeah, abortions are part of God's plan. If that's the gotcha you want to drop on me, then I'm just gonna say, yeah, God lets the abortion happen, and God also causes people to rise up against abortion. God lets slavery happen, and God also causes people to end slavery. Hopefully someday God will cause people to end abortion, and that would be part of his plan. My opinion hasn't really changed. It's just the way that I say it. I say it a little harsher now, just because I've been doing this on the internet for so long now, and I've had so many people come at me about free will that now I've taken it to the max. I've doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down.
if it's not done by evil, then it's just something that happens. It's just a natural part of life. I could get struck by lightning in 10 minutes. That's just how it was supposed to happen. And I wouldn't want anybody to be sad and curse God because something crazy like that happens. In fact, I think that when we go through these struggles, and this is what Job shows us, is when we go through these struggles, we need to get stronger in our faith. We need to get closer to God. And when we feel that pain, I don't. Oh, you're cool, Raymond. You're cool. But when we feel that pain and we feel all these hard things that happen to us, these struggles, um, str- struggles work as patience in our life, or what's the word I'm looking for? Trials, trials and struggles and tribulations work as patience in our life. These are things that should bring us closer to God. When we feel that anger, we need to look towards God instead of looking away from Him, because that's exactly what Satan wants. That's exactly what Satan wants. But Job doesn't do that. Job stays strong, and in chapter 42, God gives back Job double of everything he lost. So, and a lot of people will look at this as like a mistake in the Bible, because Job goes, where is it at? Job gets double the lambs, double the camels, double his everything he had. He gets double, but he gets 7 more sons and 3 more daughters. People say, well, that's not double, but a lot of this I'm getting from a preacher that I listen to.
Yeah, he doesn't. So God doesn't double the amount of kids that he has, but he does have double, because when he dies, he has his kids in heaven. So he does actually get double the kids, not triple.
On YouTube, so I'm trying to put it into my own words what he said, and also with my own readings. But he said, and this was really cool that he said this. I liked it. It's like people will say, "Well, that's a mistake in the Bible because he got double the asses, he got double the camels, he got double the sheep, he got double the property, but he didn't get double the children. He got the same number of children back again, but that's because he didn't lose his children. When Job finally goes to heaven, the angels rejoice, and he looks on at his 14 sons and his 6 daughters, because Job never lost his children. He knew where they were. They weren't gone from him. And when he had 7 more sons and 3 more daughters, and
That was
eventually they
double.
died, and eventually he died, when he went up to heaven, he had 14 sons and 3 daughters.
6
Double.
daughters.
So he never lost his kids. He knew where they were the whole time. And that's that's the story of Job. It's a really good book of the Bible. You guys should look into it if you haven't yet. Um, but yeah, it's, basically there's no answer. There's no answer to that question. All I would say is don't ask that question because it's not a true question. God doesn't let bad things happen. God makes the world go round. What are you questioning? You can't even comprehend this stuff. So you have to understand that things happen and they're not good or bad. It's only your ego that makes you think it's good or bad. And I know it's painful, and I know as humans in a fallen state, this is tough for us to understand when we lose somebody close to us. Um, but this shouldn't make you get farther from God. This should bring you closer to God. You should you should grow in it and become stronger instead of letting it break you and turn you away from God. So,
Rejoice in your struggles.
that's it. That's my little soapbox theology on Job. And
If you practice rejoicing in your struggles long enough, eventually you'll get to the point where you realize that you've never struggled. There's no such thing. It's not real. We don't really struggle. We just are. That's deep. That's deep. That's because Jesus Christ is my homeboy. Anyway. Yeah, dang, man, I look thicker there. Why do I look thicker there? I think it's the camera angle. I'm actually thicker now. Look, I'm stronger now. I couldn't bench then what I could bench now. I think I was a little more chunky there. I've gotten a little thinner. I used to drink a lot more beer then. That's when I was drinking like probably like a 6 pack of 16 ounces and probably like 2 tall boys every day. Now I don't drink as much. I still drink a lot on the weekend, a lot of beer, but not as much. The beard and the hair chunked me up a bit. Yeah. Yeah. And I was just a little chunkier. I think I weigh more now, but it's more muscle. I'm more cut. I was the dreaded conservative. Now I'm the shredded conservative. More definition. Anyway. It's late. It's 12:30. I gotta go. I didn't even do what I was planning on doing because we started watching that. You guys want to see a little preview of what the gaming streams are gonna look like? I'll show you real quick. Let's close this. Close this. Close this. Close this. Put this. Okay, so here's what we do. We do pop out chat. We put the chat. Okay, yeah, there's the link. We put the chat right here in 4. And then we can close this. Put this right here. Microsoft OneDrive review before deleted. Deleting stream. Delete all items. Yeah, delete those. Delete all items. Okay. Give me 1 second. I could probably play a quick game of this because I've never played this, but I have a feeling it's a quick game. All right. So this is what it will look like. It's not working. Oh, now there. Now it's working. Now we have 2 desktop audios. What is happening? Hold on. Okay. So this is what it will look like when I'm gaming regularly, and then when I'm doing the Discord. So like on like a Saturday night, if I'm playing games in the background, but I'm talking to people on Discord, it'll be this. So we'll have the Discord and the camera. But then when I'm just playing a game, like doing a Let's Play or something, which will be like short streams every now and then, it'll be this. Let's try this game real quick. This was a free game. Where's the dragon? We can be Doomterra, Azarath is the dragon, or Rogath. Wait, which one's the dragon? This looks like a dragon. Oh, wait. That looks like a Leviathan. What's this guy look like? That looks like a dinosaur, bruh. Let's be the dinosaur. Tank Giga that relies on rage to launch fireballs. This is basically Rampage. I don't care about the lore. Let's go. I don't know how to play this game. Incoming transmission. Skip this. I don't care about this. Me can escape. Left click, Rage Claw. Right click, Rage Beam. Cool. Ragezilla needs rage to terrified. Gain rage by taking and dealing damage. Oh, I just walk automatically? Oh, snap. Health bar. Your Giga's Vitality Giga will be defeated if your health reaches 0. Power up your Giga and come back stronger. Cool. Rage points. Giga ammunition. Your Giga needs this to attack and use skills. Upgrade it to make the Giga have massive firepower. Rage. Okay. Dude, why would I use the claw attack when I could just shoot stuff like this? Dude, can I just keep clicking both buttons repeatedly? Rogath is approaching our research. Activate the building's defense systems. Skills of destruction. Giga have 5 unique skills that can be unlocked and upgraded via level ups and skill points. Let's try it out. Cool. How do I do it? 1. Dude, I'm not getting me no rage. How do I get rage? Wait, every attack I do? Oh, shoot. Okay. Rogath is going to use everything we've got. Don't let Rogath enter the time chamber. I did some special attacks. So all my attacks take... 2x damage. Random power-ups picked up automatically and grants you time extender perk. Looks very 80s. Do you get paid to do this? Yeah. Sometimes. Usually I'm not on these morning streams. I usually make money on the Friday and Saturday night streams. Am I supposed to blow up this portal? Captain Villain Rogath is approaching the time portal. Let Rogath enter the time vortex. Rogath will be reverted to baby form and lose all power? We will be prepared the next time Rogath comes. Don't turn me into a baby. What? Gaga. What the? I got a pacifier? A pink pacifier for the honor of my ancestors. Yo, we just got time vortexed. Oh, you know what that is? This is like every other game where you start out with all the cool stuff and then they send you back and you gotta... Mutations and pets. Questions, achievements, cities. They're doo-doo. What is this, like Tamagotchi? Oh my gosh, it's a Tamagotchi. Pet him. Oh. Feed him. He wants food. Eat it. Doo-doo. How do I clean up the doo-doo? Oh, sweep up the doo-doo. It's like a Tamagotchi. Feed him again. Eat more food. Decor. We got 2,000 points. Ancient pillars. I can build a pyramid for my dinosaur. Ancient rock. Armor +2. Rage regeneration +2 per second. I like that. 1,000 points and 1,500 points. I have 1,250. What's the best way to allot these points? Let's get this and this. Let's clean up the doo-doo. I'm just out here recruiting for my cult. Y'all are welcome to join. I heard the Wilhelm scream. Anyway, I just wanted to show you what it looks like. We can play this more later on a Saturday night or Friday night or something. I would play this while I'm doing VK. I guess I could use virtual camera. But I don't have a second camera yet. Because since now I used to have the camera on the laptop and this camera. Now the laptop is not being used anymore, so. But yeah, I'm gonna options, quit game. There's still a lot of destruction to be done. Yes, we're gonna quit. Yeah, Pastor Huckleberry. You see this computer right here? This chat paid for half of it. I paid for the other half. Look at the baby. All right, guys, I gotta go. Let's see who I can send you to. Okay, so see, now the problem is okay, I see. Problem is I closed the YouTube window. Let's leave this. Let's close Discord and open Windows again. It doesn't tell me how many people are in the chat. If we only got a couple people watching, I won't do a raid. I have nobody I follow on live at all. Let me see. Is James still playing Call of Duty? I'll send you guys over to James's channel if he's still live. Let's see. You got to tell him he needs to talk while he's playing games. He needs to say something while he's playing his games. Oh, he's not. He's still live. Okay. Dude, Evan's been live for like 3 days. Just he's got like a security cam in his living room. I don't know if somebody needs to tell Evan that he's live. I'll send you over to James. Tell him he needs to talk while he's gaming. If he's going to do gaming streams, he needs to be entertaining. He needs to amp it up a bit. He needs to talk to the chat. He needs to forget the voice chat with your team. Screw that. Who cares? Don't talk to your team. Talk to the chat and play the game. Dang it. All right. God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Tomorrow morning, we're done with Samuel. We finished Samuel today. I usually don't do the Bible study streams on Fridays. I usually don't stream on Friday mornings, but tomorrow we're going to do a gaming stream because I've got a bunch of new games and I haven't played any of them yet. I got The Witcher 3. I got Destiny 2. I got Gig Apocalypse, which we just played. Sifu, Deliver at All Costs, Dying Light 2, Black Myth Wukong, Cyberpunk 2077, freaking Monster Hunter Wilds. We got a bunch of new games and we need to test them out. So I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. But God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Say what up to James. Tell him to be more animated and talk to his chat. Later, guys.